excited because I finally got some free time. My husband is in there napping with both of the kids, so let's see if we can get a video in. I want to get used to uploading more because it's actually really fun for me. I never realized how passionate I was about speaking until I started this again, so I'm really excited. I want to talk real quick today. I say real quick, I don't know how long this video is going to be, but about letting fear motivate you. So I have a few stories about this, but I want to start off by saying anything that you're afraid to do in life is because you have this underlying desire to accomplish something in your life, no matter what that is. And that is usually fueled by passion. So for me, anything that I've ever been afraid of is because I'm afraid of success. I'm afraid of what comes after I don't know what's going to happen or what's going to come from this. One of my favorite stories I like to tell is about the time that I went skydiving. And I say this because not a lot of people do this. There's a good percentage of people in the world who do, but there's more people who don't than do. Because some of the biggest questions they ask is, what's going to happen if I die? What's going to happen if, I break all 5 of my limbs? I know there are no 5 limbs, but you know what I'm saying? Like, there's so many things that could go wrong. And we kind of have to think about when we're pursuing our passions like this, we always think about, what if no one buys my product? What if no one wants to hire me? What if no one wants to pay for my services? What if? And we get so caught up in these what ifs that we never actually get anything accomplished. Another thing that kind of holds us back with that fear is constantly looking around for other people to support us, and that can be really hard, especially with family. We think that family are supposed to be our biggest supporters. We think that they're supposed to have our back 24/7. But I think that in this life, everyone kind of has their own agenda because we all have our collective experiences that have made us exactly who we are. And these things affect us on a daily basis. So don't expect too many people to get wrapped up in what you're doing because this is your life and it's time for you to take charge of it. During this path that I've been on, I've had so many ups and downs with like family and friendships because I feel like I should be pouring myself into making myself more likable, making myself more digestible for people. And that is something that has held me back a lot of the time too. I feel like, maybe if I'm a little bit quieter or maybe if I say things that they like versus things that I like, that I'll have more friends or people will like me more. They will flock to me. And I have found that it is much more easier to talk and do the things that you're passionate about versus trying to do what someone else likes. Because if you do, 9 times out of 10, you'll just wind up really unhappy with what you're doing. So when fear holds us back, we kind of spiral into the cycle of sadness and feelings of unworthiness and feeling like, well, I'm never going to be good enough, so I might as well not even try. The way that I got into podcasting was through a friend of mine, and we worked together years ago. And I love her to absolute death. Actually, I won't even say to death. I love her to life. I love her so much because that sounds so negative. But I remember there was this day we were at work and she asked me to go with her because she was so excited about starting a podcast. And she bought all this equipment and she never started the show. So it wasn't until last year we were spending some time together and I was thinking about starting my own podcast, which I have started now. And she let me use her equipment that she never used before. And when we had conversations, it was usually surrounding her feeling like she had to have her artwork done. She had to have all these topics ready. She had to have guests interviewed. And most of the time, we create these things in our heads that stop us from moving forward rather than just doing them until we figure out what the next step is. And when I started my podcast, I did not have a logo. The logo that I was using was for my company, my business versus, what it was supposed to be for, which was not a podcast. I didn't have any guests that I was interviewing. I just had things that I was passionate about that I wanted to talk about. And that has transformed into something more than what it was originally intended for. But I didn't let anything stop me. So there aren't always going to be every single thing, laid out perfectly for you. There's not going to be any perfect path or any perfect way to accomplish and get things done. You kind of just have to throw yourself and immerse yourself into whatever it is that you're passionate about and that you want to do. Fear will rear its ugly head all the time. It will try to take control of whatever you're doing. It's going to try to discourage you. It's going to tell you you're not good enough. It's going to tell you you're not going to accomplish anything in this life. It's going to tell you you might as well go sit out because, this is not for you. You can't listen to that voice. And I love encouraging the people around me to remember this about themselves, because dark thoughts, they're going to come up. They're not avoidable. We don't live in this world where they don't exist, but we can create the world in which they are silenced. And that's an important thing to remember, because I hear a lot of people speak on toxic positivity. And when people say this, I believe they say that it's toxic to pretend that nothing else is going on in the world and that sadness doesn't exist. And, creating this false reality can literally make us sick. But when we start to train our minds and our brains and raise our vibration, as they say, to get to another frequency and another level, you really don't have to think about those things anymore. I'm not saying they don't exist. I'm not saying they're not there. I'm not saying that, you don't have to suffer at all in order to experience something else. What I'm saying is where you put your focus is where things will come to you. And if you don't put your focus there at all, if you're spreading your seed everywhere, like I want to be a dancer one day, but you're writing a book and then you're working a 9 to 5 and you're doing this and you're doing that, and you pull away from that focus, that fear is going to take a hold of everything that you're distracting yourself with and convince you that you're not good enough and convince you that you're not going to get it done. And, it gets out of control there. So, in the things that I have learned about fear, you have to be the strong one. You have to persevere through the noise. You have to learn to silence it. You have to turn off your inner critic and turn on your inner cheerleader. And that can be really difficult at the very beginning, but through practice and repetition and being delusional and literally tricking yourself into thinking that you are it, you're going to make it happen. Eventually, your thoughts and your body are going to start to sync up, and they're going to say, oh, we can do this. We can get it done. So that's all I have for today. Do not let fear keep you down. Make sure to hit the subscribe button. Let me know if you enjoyed what I talked about today. Let me know some things that fear has done in your life and how you plan to eliminate it completely, or at least on a path to start eliminating it from your life. And until next time, let love lead the way.